much, Dr. Grabowski. Our next speaker is Jeff Portnoy. Jeff is a partner at a local law firm. He's an attorney, and he's going to talk about the importance of freedom of the press. Welcome, Jeff.
Aloha. I flew back from Munich, Germany last night, and it was a tremendously sobering time. I spent a day on what was called the Third Reich Tour. 2 days ago, I stood in the spot where they burned library books. Any of you who know anything about history are aware of that night. And today I stand in front of a library. We are not that far away from what happened in the first decade of the Third Reich. I'm not here to talk about certain aspects of that, but we know its effect upon freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly. What Hitler and his people did was to start to jail anyone whose speech they disagreed with, most of whom died by the end of the war in concentration camps. I know many of you are thinking, well, that'll never happen here. That's what they thought in Germany, didn't they? Then he changed the press, jailed journalists after journalists. Many of them perished in the concentration camps by the end of the war. There was no free press. There was Hitler's press. And you know, as a result of Hitler's press, the majority of voters in Germany voted for Hitler's political party. He didn't take over power. He was elected democratically, quote unquote. So can it happen in another democracy? Of course. Then he packed the courts. Then he jailed judges. Wow, that has some similarity to what's happening here. Am I overemphasizing what could happen? No. I don't think so. Then what did he do with the arts? If you were an artist in Nazi Germany, you had to register with the government for them to approve you to be an artist. If you did not register, you were subject to arrest, prosecution, and huge fines. And what art didn't they like? Any art that didn't project the Nazi Party as the Aryan race and the only race that was permitted to exist. Anything else was considered pornographic. They built a new library just to house the approved artist works and closed any other art gallery. They closed every library that didn't agree just to allow books that they approved to be given. Wow, that's happened here, hasn't it? What's happening? We haven't yet had a book burning. We're getting close. They stopped all performing arts that Hitler and his party did not pre-approve. Oh, what happened to the Kennedy Center? Oh my God. The Kennedy Center, the symbol of our performing arts. So we can do chorus line, because President can understand some of the words. But we can't do anything that he considers controversial, homophobic, you name it. Packs the Kennedy Center. These seem to be small, insignificant steps, and they lead to large, overwhelming steps that cannot be stopped. Our Constitution came up with the First Amendment. It's the First Amendment, not the Ninth, not the Sixth. Freedom of press, freedom of speech. And what's happening to the press in this country, of which it is complicit, much of it. Look at the bribery that's gone on at ABC and CBS. I have done defamation law for 50 years. There's no way they would have lost either of those cases. Zero way if those cases had proceeded in court. Yet together they paid almost $30 million to the Trump Library. The problem is Trump hasn't read a book in a decade. It'll be the smallest library in the history of presidential libraries. It'll fit right here. Only his books will be in that library. So what's happening? You folks, don't ever forget how important speech and press and the arts and the books and the libraries. You're doing away with the Department of Education. Why? So they can teach one way. Nothing about Native Americans. Nothing about ethnic groups. Nothing about any of the things, the internment or anything that's in our history. Because according to the president, there's only one history, and that's his. Thank you.